Alright, we're back with another episode of Critical Thinking here in World Warships. We have another ranked match, and today I'm taking out the Massachusetts B. Massachusetts B is a South Dakota class battleship. It's got 9 406mm guns, base 30-second reload. So this ship is basically a secondary focused American battleship. It's got decent armor. It's got 32 plating all around. Its citadel is decently well protected. We've got 2 other battleships in our flank with us. We've got a cruiser, destroyer, and a sub in this match. I am really not a huge fan of this map in ranked. It's a little bit difficult to know what to do here. A lot of times, a large portion of your team ends up going for A and B, and then they kind of just end up sitting in the closest cap, and they end up not contributing a whole lot to the battle. It's uncommon that they actually end up pushing forward and gaining the other cap until the match is already either won or lost. So when possible, I try to avoid going for A and B personally and leave it to 1 or 2 ships to kind of go and hold. So in this match, kind of the other thought is going for C. I've seen matches where the entire enemy team goes for C except one ship. I've seen matches where just one ship goes and tries to get C, so it's kind of a wash. You never really know what to expect. In this match here, I decided that I'm going to kind of go in between. One of my favorite strategies, especially when I'm in a battleship, is that I'll kind of follow these islands off to our right side, and I'll kind of go on the inside corner of them. That way I can kind of peek around into A, get a little bit of spotting into there, and ideally kind of hit their broadside a little bit, because they either have to give me broadside or they have to at least partially give my teammates broadside at B. So that's what we're going to try here. Massachusetts B, besides having decent armor, good secondary guns, it's also got that really good American quick cooldown DCP and repair party. So I think every 40 seconds you can pop off one of those, which is really nice. You can see someone in the chat is making fun of one of our teammates for missing him. It's okay, he won't be alive for long. But anyways, so not a whole lot going on at the opening of this match. We got a few shots off on that, on the enemy destroyer. I do have to be a little careful for torps. I believe that that enemy destroyer has the deep water torps, so they'll just kind of appear right in front of us and it'll be too late. But taking off some shots here now that the enemy's pushing farther into their A cap, trying to get their broadside a little better. Here's this guy that was talking crap in the chat. We go ahead and we get a decent hit on him, 15,000. We're kind of just juking our throttle a little bit here and turning just enough to throw off some of the enemy shots. We're angling decently well as well, so we're bouncing off quite a few shells. And we're going to take a lot of potential damage this match, and that's what you kind of want to do if you're going to go in this middle area here. You want to kind of soak up a lot of damage for your team, kind of focus the enemy's attention on you so that your teammates can kind of clean them up. We do have some torps out on us, and bam, the enemy sub is spotted. The ASW on the Massachusetts is quite poor. There's those deep water torps that we needed to watch out for, and like I said, they just kind of appeared out of nowhere and tagged us. So we are going to take one more torp here from that sub. We do get a couple of hits on the sub with our ASW. It's not going to do much damage because the Massachusetts ASW is pretty trash. Until recently, it actually only had 5 kilometers of range, but now I think it goes out to 10 at least, maybe 11. Sub spotted again. We'll drop a little bit more ASW. I wasn't sure if I could hit him here or not. I tried to hit him. We do only have armor piercing loaded, so we'd have to get pretty spot on, but we miss. We take a pretty heavy broadside shot there from the enemy. Here I was trying to decide whether we should be running or what we should do. That sub kept popping up, and I was sure he was going to be shooting more torps at us, but we were just taking a little bit too much damage there too quickly. We're already up to 1 million potential damage. That's okay, because the Massachusetts can heal back a lot of health and really quickly, so we are going to survive for quite a while longer. That enemy sub is leaking oil, so we can kind of guess where he's going. Try to drop some ASW there on top of where we think he'll appear next. We do have the enemy Alabama kind of pushing around towards A over there, or towards C, I mean. So we got to be careful for him. Obviously, there's lots of enemy ships over in the A cap, so we're out in the open. Not a whole lot that we can do at this moment, so we kind of angle away. After we pop this next heal, though, we'll kind of be up to enough health that we can afford to push again for a little while. Enemy Alabama goes behind some islands, so he won't be a threat to us for a bit. So we kind of flip around here. Just got to be careful for that sub and for any enemy destroyer torps, because we aren't quite sure where the enemy destroyer's at. So yeah, we're just kind of flipping a circle here. We did a good job in the beginning of the match of kind of drawing the enemy's attention towards us. We got some good hits, up to 46,000 damage already. We'll get much higher. I hold my shot here, waiting for the Iparanga to kind of go more broadside to us. Or not Iparanga. Yeah. Anyways, we get some very poor dispersion there. We only managed to get 2 shells on target, and one of them was an overpen. Alabama is pushing up on our broadside there, so I slow down and start angling towards him. We do take a little bit of a big hit there. I go ahead and heal. Alabama stops completely broadside to us. Poor choice. And now we are decently well angled to both the Alabama and the enemy ships in the ACAP. So we're just going to kind of sit here, let our secondaries kind of put in some work and dish out damage where we can with our primaries. We keep dropping ASW on that sub, and we managed to finally kill him. Launching off shells in both directions right now, taking a lot of damage. We are bouncing most of the shells from the Alabama, so I'm not too worried about him. I'm more worried about these ships pushing up by A flank kind of towards us. I want to finish off this enemy ship right here. We do have torps coming in from the sub. They're not homing those, so we can easily dodge them. I see the Iparanga kind of coming back around. We're going to try to finish him off here with our front turrets. Secondaries are out on both sides. Our team does finish off the enemy Chernobog, and bam, we get a Citadel hit taking out the Iparanga. And now things are very clearly in the bag for us. So we're up to 120,000 damage. Our secondaries are shredding that Alabama apart. We're very well angled to him, so he can't really do a whole lot to us, especially if he keeps shooting at our hull instead of our superstructure. He fires at our hull, and we bounce every single one of his shots. So, and we're pushing forward. I am choosing to keep armor piercing here just because we're still getting good damage. If you kind of notice, though, I'm not aiming at his hull or his nose. I'm aiming a little bit more towards his superstructure there. I'm purposely trying to get the shells in. At this angle, most of them shouldn't overpen. They should penetrate through the superstructure and down into the ship. He's getting a little close now, so probably that next shot I would have wanted to switch to high explosive unless he was going to turn broadside, because the shells wouldn't have the distance to kind of penetrate down through the ship. They would just penetrate straight through the superstructure and we'd get overpens. But anyways, up to 142,000 damage, 2 kills, lots of fires, lots of floods. So this match was pretty well. We got quite a bit of spotting damage for a battleship as well. I call out to my team where I think the enemy destroyer is. I had seen those torps that killed our teammate earlier. Our team's a little confused at first, but finally they realize that the destroyer is way over there. Still, though, I didn't get a chance to see what direction that destroyer was heading. It's definitely reckless pushing up like this with such low health against an enemy destroyer with deep water torps, but at this point in the match, even if we go down, it really doesn't make any difference. There's 5 of our teammates left to 1 of him. Even if he's full health, they should have no issue taking him out. So we can kind of afford to play a little recklessly here. Still no clue, though, if he's off to our left or off to our right. I shoot out some ASW hoping that maybe he's screwed up and he's got his anti-air on, but that is not the case, where we just totally missed where he's at. So no clue where he is. He's spotted us multiple times, and he's got us detected with the RPF, so I launch a spotter plane here thinking that, I don't know, maybe if he's like really close behind one of these islands that the spotter plane will spot him for us. That way we're not totally surprised. We're about to win on points, so not a whole lot left that we can do. I'm just looking all around, trying to figure out where he's at. I've kind of pinned it down to where I think he's off to the right of us. I thought he was going for our B cap back there. It turns out that's not where he was at. We get radared here, and then we're about to spot him here in a second. I still thought he was off to the right of us, but right here in 1 or 2 more seconds, he'll get spotted, and our secondaries will open up on him. And there he is. He's like 2 kilometers away. I try to slow down here and kind of turn in, but there's no point. I mean, he had us pegged with those torps. Funny enough, we met our 2 million potential damage threshold when he launched those torps at us, so we actually unlocked another heal, but not enough time to use it. We did, in that little brief amount of time, actually get like another 6,000 or 7,000 damage off on him with our secondary guns. I think we got 8 secondary shell hits, so anyways, we end out this match with 147,000 damage, over 2 million potential damage. Can't quite read that on the screen if it's 23 or 28,000 spotting damage, but either way, this match is in the bag. Our team is not quite going to finish him off, but they bring him really, really close, and we win on points. So yeah, high caliber Confederate. We do pretty well here. As far as ranked matches, any secondary battleship is kind of a good choice always. Your secondary guns can target the enemy destroyers pretty well, and you can also use your primary guns too, but it's just nice because with non-secondary gun ships, when an enemy destroyer is spotted, there's not really much you can do because, I mean, you got, for most ships, like a 30-second reload. Even if you get a really good shot on a destroyer and take out like a third or half of his health, then you're just kind of stuck in the water for the next 30 seconds waiting to reload. And by then, the destroyer is probably going to go dark, but at least with the secondary guns, you can keep getting some damage. We do get 2,300 2,300 base XP on this match. Pretty good for a ranked match. But yeah, with the secondary ships, not a whole lot of brain power needs to go into playing them. Mostly you're just kind of, the biggest brain power that you can do is not push forward too aggressively, and you want to make sure that you find a good position, that you're well angled to all of the enemy ships that are firing at you, so you don't take too many full pens. And you can bounce some shells, and you don't get killed too quickly like we almost did in the beginning. But you just have to be really aware of your healing capabilities and kind of what support you've got. And really the best thing that you can do for your team in these ships is tank a lot of damage. Dishing out damage is great, but if you can at least get the enemy to focus fire on you and you can survive long enough, a lot of times it allows your friendly teammates to dish out enough damage that you win. We've got a really standard secondary build here for American ships. I do have Grease the Gears just to help in close range combat. And then the only controversial choice I made here was deciding to go ahead and take the secondary survivability on this ship. I really don't find that the primary guns get knocked out that often. The secondary guns, on the other hand, get knocked out all the time. So I personally would recommend that you take secondary survivability as much as you can. Because, I mean, that's kind of what makes this ship special, and it is a noticeable amount of damage each match that you get with your secondary guns. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. But anyways, All right, that's going to do it for this episode of World of Warships Critical Thinking. Hopefully this helped you get through your rank season, and I'll be back with the next episode soon.